Hey everybody, welcome to virtual Balticon. It's time for the MythWits, the show dedicated to all things geek pop culture, drenched in absurdity, and coated with sarcasm. Every week we bring on an industry guest or a few to talk about the ever-expanding Geekoverse. We do our damnedest to be funny. Oh my God, tonight's going to be funny. I'm your host, Peter Bryant, and joining me on this episode is my co-host, Mike Kafes.
Ew.
We are also joined by Scott Pond and Tori Duke Pond.
You may call me Pondalicious.
Just Tori.
And Violet Lavoie.
Hey!
All right, tonight we are going to do, oh my God, we're going to do a food challenge. Last year we did the hot wings. And this year, I'm going to kill that. This year we're doing something a little different. I would like I tell you what. First off, let's get started with introductions. So, Tori, tell everybody who you MB.
So I'm Scott.
I'm Tori.
Yep. Together we make Tori. By day, I'm just your average worker, but by night, I'm the typical graphic designer, artist, photographer, writer, multi-creative, blah, 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 that all of us are here at Balticon.
Okay.
Did you leave anything for me to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Editing.
You're handy editor.
I guess the editor kind of dabble in everything. Currently making masks for.
I saw that.
I'm up to 82 for my local area and for Native American tribes around the U.S. So
Nice.
And they are high quality, fantastic masks.
well,
Is this what you're doing by day?
it takes all day.
All right.
It's a lot of ironing and sewing, and I'm like, what was I thinking? But it's rewarding. So.
Wow.
And Violet?
Yes, hello. Yeah, I'm a writer and an artist, and you keep inviting me back on this show against all better judgment, but I'm always happy to be here.
But you keep coming back against your better judgment.
Better judgment.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
Oh,
It's not clear who the fool is.
right.
Violet, hold on a second. I know we've all been in this quarantine, hence having a virtual Balticon. How have you managed to keep your hair and your everything so, I'm just going to say lovely,
Oh,
just,
thank you.
you look great. What happened? Not what
Violet
happened, but what's your
Violet
secret?
is an old school punk rocker, okay? And as old school punk rockers, we learned to cut our own hair.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you cut your own hair, and I've been doing that since I was 15, so it's like no big deal. So that's what it is, and I color it too, and everything. You did the same, Peter, right?
I did.
Yep.
Punk rockers could not trust hairdressers.
Right.
They didn't get it.
Right.
They weren't cool enough.
Exactly.
Right.
The
Well,
thing
I
about
made
me
the
is that-
mistake. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the thing about me is I've actually not left the house since February 29th because I had foot surgery. So I was laid up for a month, and then the world went to hell. Ah, there we go. Very nice.
Somebody asked.
So I've had sort of an extra long quarantine. So the people who are like, kind of coming into the phase now where they're like, you know what, I've just channeled my inner Wookiee and I just don't care anymore. Like I've already passed through that phase back into, you know what, I'm going to wear lipstick no matter what. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And for me, I made the mistake of like a week in deciding to shave my entire face.
Mhm.
Right, I shaved it all, and
That's scary.
I didn't like what I saw. I just
Wow.
didn't. So I said, you know what? I'm going to the opposite. I'm going to lean into this whole grizzly thing and let my entire beard grow out. I've not done that in years either.
Wow.
The problem is now I've got it to a respectable point, but I don't know, and I'm so scared to cut, trim, do anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. So it's just it's getting it has its own mind. It's like the Cthulhu beard or something.
You know what's funny?
Mike with a shaven face. Imagine a 93-year-old baby's bottom.
Right.
Sure.
Mike, you know what's really funny is that your skin is almost the same color as your beard. You are that white.
But I really like it. I think it's very flattering. I think
I like it.
Lean In was a good choice.
I think
Are
it
you
works.
going to grow it out so you can audition as Santa this year?
Yes.
I don't.
Do it.
I mean, maybe if there's money in it, who knows?
And
Dude,
even-
there's tons of money in it.
Yes.
But here's the thing, even if we're still in lockdown of some sort at that point, you could do virtual calls.
Virtual Santa.
Yeah.
I want like 10% of your profit.
Oh, you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
All right. So I've challenged my panelists and myself. I'm part of the challenge. I'm suffering with them. We're going to do a food challenge. Last year we did hot wings, and that was very punishing. I think Scott and I both had stomach issues. Violet, you had stomach issues too, didn't you?
I was pretty ill. I'm sorry, there's cat mayhem going down here.
That's fine.
So I was pretty ill for a day, but yeah, I got over it.
Mike seemed to be the only one to weather it.
Really?
It's all right. Yeah, did okay.
I mean, the heat wasn't what did me in. It was like my stomach was just like for like a day.
Yeah.
I think it was the one that tasted like skunk
Yeah.
urine.
Yes.
Bomb.
They really
Yeah.
did it.
I told Mike I'll never do that again. I will do any challenge. I will eat stuff twice as hot, but I will never eat that sauce again as long as I live.
I'm
done.
sure we can find another one just as it's equal.
I don't know. Right, you all have packages. I would like you all to open your packages now.
I don't want to.
Okay. All right.
So I sent these packages to everybody this past week.
Is this Pepto-Bismol? Is this what this is?
It's the opposite of that.
Oh. Thicket.
This
What-
stuff is called thicket. I mean, thicket, thick water.
Oh, I've
So-
heard of this stuff.
Yes.
It has the consistency of nectar or loose
Yeah.
snot. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we've asked the audience, some of our audience and fans and stuff, to give us some questions, and we asked people in the chat room if they want to give us questions. We'll answer ones we can. Some of the ones that I got were specific, very specific to me, but I can open them up. I can rephrase them for everybody because we're all going to answer it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the question, and then you must take a drink. Now we're going to get through like 6 or 7 questions. So, and I wasn't sure how big these bottles were when I was buying them. So just make sure you leave enough for about 6 or 7.
Oh, you
we
should have
have
told us
to-
to get little shot glasses. We could
Yeah.
have just.
Do we
can't-
have to finish the bottle?
We should finish the bottle by the end of the night.
Peter, where did you find out about this?
It was a YouTube thing. Actually, Howie Mandel's son is. I saw. I didn't know that was who he was, but he did it, and it looked really disgusting. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew.
Smells
Maybe.
like water.
Smells like it's. Yeah, I didn't get the flavored kind. I didn't want anybody to have any flavor to help them.
Bless
No
you.
tasting. It's got a nice feel to it, doesn't it, Scott? Nice feel. Yeah, there you go. They had honey and they had nectar, and somebody was saying you really don't want to do the honey. You got to get the nectar is the way to go. Like, but
Okay.
so what we're gonna do. So take a good swig of it when you do, but do it just before you answer the question, because here's the rule. Here's the one rule. You cannot drink anything else until you're done answering your question.
Okay.
And then you can have a drink of whatever.
All right.
In between questions.
Valid.
Huh?
That's good.
Now-
That's good.
I'll even volunteer to go first unless somebody else wants to be that person.
I got to point this out. Can you see the bubbles suspended? in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I got mine too.
Not
Yeah.
moving at all.
At
Yeah.
all. Not rising, not falling.
No.
Just right there.
They're just hanging.
It's like glass.
Oh, Peter.
This should be fun. So, am I going first or is someone else going first?
I'll go first if nobody else is going.
Oh, I really wanted Pete to go first.
I can
Go
go first.
first. Go first. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait.
yeah.
All right, so
He deserves this.
let's
Hey,
do
you
that.
got us into this.
This is all my fault. All right, so the first question is, let's see. I have a couple here. Violet, did you get any questions?
I didn't. I put it out on
Okay.
Instagram, and just everybody knows everything they need to know about me. So there you go.
You want me to keep
That's
up with the questions in the chat room?
I have some. I have some questions in the chat room, so we're good. We're set. We're set. All right, so this is kind of a pertinent question. It says you've mentioned MythWits will be taking a back seat to some other projects. There's a couple questions that kind of I put them all together. What does the future have in store for MythWits, and what other projects do you have on the burner? When did you know it was time to set MythWits aside and move on to other projects? What were the symptoms that prompted your significant change? So that's a question very specific to me. I'd like you all to think about, you'll have a few minutes while I go through this machination, to think about any project you have that was really important that you were working on, you put a lot of time on, and you're just like, you know what, I can't work on this anymore. I have to do something else, or I have to put this aside for a while. You know, there's something, but it has to be something you really like loved. Like maybe you're writing a book, Violet, and you're like, I need to put this book on hold. And then like, why? And then what were you doing about it? All right. Oh God. All right. Oh. Oh, that is worse than I thought it was going to be. And it has a really interesting kind of aftertaste. It, kind of like paste. Okay. All right. Ooh, the whole bottle. Okay. So MythWits is a lot of work. Mike and I spent a lot of time working on this. I spent maybe a little bit more than Mike on it. And it was consuming me, like, you know, having a guest every week and researching, and like good guests, not just anybody. Cause we did that for a little while and I was kind of like, oh yeah, I want to up the quality of our guests, you know, and like not just have the same people on again and again as well. Find some scientists, oh God. And so what we decided was Mike and I kind of went to all the pain points of what our show is. And we decided, all right, let's kill this. Let's kill that. Let's change this to that. So in other words, we're not every week now. We're whenever we are. So if we have a guest, we have a show, we do it. If we don't worry about it. We don't have that stress looming over us every week. We don't, you know, by doing that, I just have so much more time. And the other projects I'm working on, I mean, there's some other changes too. We cut out some of the software we're using. We use just StreamYard now, which is super easy. And then that's it. And then, so what am I doing instead? I'm doing work with TSR. So I'm working on an adventure right now that I'm about to finish, which is really cool, like spy adventure through the desert. It's pretty neat. And you know, just helping get TSR off the ground.
Sweet.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
That's okay. Let's see. Somebody was asking what it is. It's Thicket.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, here we go. Let's see. I'm getting kind of like drippy H.R. Geiger alien kind of flashbacks.
Yes.
That's where it's at.
Flashbacks. That means you've experienced it before.
Right,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Project. So when I was like about, I don't know, 10 years old, I came up with a story that I wanted to write about a woman who was a projectionist in a silent movie theater in the 1920s and was just sort of this independent spirit, and just sort of wrote about her. You know, I was 10 years old and I wrote a little description of her, and sorry, this is creeping back up on me. So
it has this like second round.
It does. Yeah. So they I wrote it. I didn't know anything what to do with it, but I loved this character. So this character, I really wanted to do something with. This character has been popping up in stuff that I've written for basically my whole career since I was 10 years old. But she has this curse that if the character I want to write at more than anything else in the world, as soon as I put her in something, I don't finish it. And I've tried doing it as a fantasy novel. I've tried doing it as a historical novel. I've tried doing it as like a cyberpunk kind of thing. And I'm gung-ho about it. But at some point it just kind of freezes. And I realize it's because a character has to grow, have to have changes. And are you still there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
has to grow and have changes. And her life to me is perfect. And then I sort of realized, like, I'm the projectionist. I'm the one who sits in the booth and projects the stories. So she doesn't have anything to do. It's just me being happy to be me. So this quarantine, one of the long overdue projects that I wanted to do was get together all of my film writing in one place. Cause I've got like 16 years worth of film writing for the Baltimore City Paper and some other things. And like, I lost half of my portfolio when the City Paper website went offline, but then thank God somebody like dredged it all up from the servers and then put it back out there for like a little bit of time so that everybody could scoop up all of their bylines and do something with it. So I just put it together all in an ebook. It ended up being about 700 pages of an ebook. And I distributed for free as a Creative Commons license thing. Cause a lot of it was, you know, like was work for hire and a lot of defunct publications. And it was just too much. So I said, you know what, it's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So I'm just going to put it out there for free and just, you know, if it happens, it happens. And, so I named the press, the small imaginary press that I did, I named it after her. So now she can be in every book. So it's Theta Press. So, and I'm thinking about that being the step to doing a little more self-publishing, because I have some ideas for moving away from the old model of, you know, waiting for somebody to pick you and say, here's your $100,000 advance, go to it, you blessed child, to another model where you're a little more in control of what you do and you're responsible for it. So now she's where she wants to be, which is, you know, all the books. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was a very lovely story.
Thank you.
I almost made her take another drink, but I figured, you know what?
It's not. I thought it was going to be worse actually, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad in its non-ness. You know,
Yeah.
It tastes like nothing.
It's
right.
The presence of the absence of good. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
Well, like the nothing in the never-ending story. You know.
Oh,
Yes.
dear.
God. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Nothing. All right, who's up next? Scott?
I'll go. So for those just joining us, we're drinking Ghost Spit. Whatever this is. It's called
It's like alien slime, right?
Yeah.
I recommend everyone go out and buy a case.
Yeah.
Drink it now. All right.
Oh, nice one.
It's like drinking hand sanitizer,
Mm-hmm.
but there's almost a salty kick at the end, right when you're swallowing it.
Yes.
That was gross.
I recommend it to everybody.
No. I can't even imagine. It even says that the other varieties are what, coffee, apple, orange and cranberry juice, nectar and honey. No.
Taste of death.
Well, this is for people with, I think it's dysphagia. Forget what the condition's called, something like that. But it's people who have swallowing problems.
Yes.
Yeah. So enjoy, Mike, when it's your turn. So the question is projects we've put on hold or projects we pick back up. Is that the?
It's projects you put on hold, why you put them on hold, and what you're doing now, or what you did in place of it.
So not to beat a dead horse to death or dead ass to death. 2018, everyone knows I pretty much had cancer. Spent that year fighting it and getting back on my feet in 2019. So before that, I was very heavily involved in graphic design, lots and lots and lots of graphic design projects, covers, posters, t-shirt designs, logos, etc.
It's that second round coming around.
You know that morning phlegm?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that and pretty much everything else kind of got put on hold in 2018.
Right.
One of the weird things you kind of find out with that is there is a momentum that goes once you start doing graphic design projects. Word of mouth spreads, you get more clients, you do a lot more, you're pretty much strapped for time. But if you hit a period where you don't do it very much or you're holding back a little bit on how much you're doing, it dries up pretty quick because people still have to get their projects done. And if you're not available, they're going to find somebody
somewhere else. Yeah.
So one of the things I started to do during the whole cancer journey was I've had a novel tickling my brain for years, set in the future, kind of like a future horror type story. Started to write that and got about 3 chapters in and realized, I've got this whole backstory and world building that's kind of going on in my head, and actually went back 700 years into present day and ended up working on 3 different novels at the same time.
Oh my God! Why write one when you can write 3?
Well, and the thing is, kind of with Violet's comment, the 3 novels actually cover the same character 20 years apart.
Okay.
So the first one, he's 11 years old, then he's 31 years old, then he's 51 years old, and it's all set around this supernatural setting where, similar to most supernatural stories, the general populace doesn't know the supernatural exists, and he's exposed very early on to it and ends up leading a task force by the time he's in his 50s. So that whole sequence kind of built itself in my head. I'm like, it'd be interesting to explore those 3 eras of his life, because to look at the 50s, 70s, and 90s from a supernatural standpoint, it's kind of interesting to see how those pop cultural references come into play and just how life in general impacts the story at each of those 3 time periods. And then that directly leads into the future stories, which those are about an entirely different character, obviously, but it's all built upon that world that really kicks off from the 50s to the 90s.
Cool.
Are these
All right.
are these merging into one novel, or are you seeing them as a trilogy?
Oh no, they're definitely a trilogy. I kind of guesstimated at word count based on the outline for the first 2, and,
Okay.
and it's well into the 150s to 200,000 words per novel.
Wow.
Jesus.
Okay. Wow.
And you knocked out the over 50 for NaNoWriMo, right?
Yeah, I'm at 30,000 for the first book and almost 50,000 for the second book right now.
Okay.
And with this challenge for me, I'm doing so much. Like, I'm doing the editing part. He needs names all the time, so I'm creating names. I've even created a fake police force from the ground up.
Yep.
I mean, you name it. It's kind of all hands on deck between the 2 of us as far as that goes. Now I'm not writing the
Munchkin
story.
too, and then
Yeah.
Munchkin too. She's involved as well.
Yeah, and then she's writing her own stories and stuff like that. So we're doing whole family editing and stuff like that.
That's
One of
cute.
the things I eventually want to do is, I did NaNoWriMo last year, and I've got to figure out what I want to do with my book. And
Yeah,
is it going to see the light of day
You
or not?
actually won NaNoWriMo last year.
For my first,
Scott, you're the one that fell behind Tori. You finished.
I've never written anything in my entire life
Wow.
other than a poem, and so
Yeah.
I don't know how to put that one out. But
Wow.
so
All right, Mikey.
Why don't you pretty much explained ours, our
Okay.
issue. So why don't you read me another question and I'll
Okay, we'll go there. All right, that's fine. All right, so let's see. Let's see.
Chug.
Hold on, there were some in here. Hold on. Okay. Jesus, what? I'm trying to get one that fits everybody. Okay, so
when is Mike going to ask his girlfriend to marry him?
oh no, not doing that yet.
there's a whole plan, and if she wasn't
I know
watching,
there-
maybe I would share that with you. But
What? Hey,
Well, does it involve a ring in a bottle of thicket?
there you go.
Hey,
It'll float right in there.
honey!
There you go. All right, we're ready. I'm ready, Mike. What,
Okay.
if any, pets do you all have? What are their names? If you have favorites, what are they? And why did you get these specific pets? It's a good one for you, Mike.
Okay.
Take a nice big gulp. Gulp.
Okay. It's nice going last. Not as bad as I thought, but certainly not as. It's not on any list that I would ever want to ever experience ever. And
Just wait, Mike.
Yeah, we still got to finish the whole bottle.
Yeah.
oh,
So tell me about your pet, Mike. I know you've
Okay.
got one. 2. You got 2.
Well, I do. Well, we have all right. So currently, Jenny and I have a cat. His name is T Sizzle. After the Baltimore used to be Baltimore Raven. And
Yeah.
Second round. Yeah, it comes back.
Yep.
wow. It's
It all
like
happens at the same time too.
it's like
Lucy said
having dry mouth, but yet it's not dry, but yet it is. I want water so bad right now.
I know. You better answer that question.
Okay. So we have T Sizzle. He's a cat. He is an awesome cat. He is so affectionate. And we used to think just because he had some issues and we used to have to feed him like little bits at a time because he threw up a lot, but we changed his food and we've resolved all that. So now he gets all his food, but he still is like, I'll get up in the morning, he's already eaten and he's just like, yeah, and he really wants attention. He cries if he doesn't have enough attention. And it's fun. It's fun with Sis and Pete. Are you talking about like the bird? Is that what you were thinking? Yeah. Okay, so in a little bit.
Like, why did you get a bird and all that?
In a former life with someone else that we did adopt a bird together, and it was an African gray, and it was slated to live longer. Well, it is slated to live longer than all of us. The bird's still alive, but this African gray named Gracie, outlived the relationship, but also I took care of after we split. I took care of the bird for about 1.5 years or 2 years. And I just said, listen, I'm going to be moving very soon. I'm going to be moving into a place that I can't have a bird. And so she took the bird and then she found a home for it because of reasons. But unfortunately, I can't say I'm a companion to that bird anymore, but I really did. I realized in that experience that I am a bird person. I love birds. So
he's bird man.
No offense, buddy. He's sitting behind me. Like
this is the little black one.
Yeah, and Pete is a dog person all the way. I love dogs too, don't get me wrong, but I love birds. I don't know. There's something about having this thing that is so delicate and it, earning its trust, I think to me it's an amazing part of a kind of a relationship. So anyway.
All right. Now you can have some water, Mike. All right.
Oh God. Yes.
Here we go. I'm gonna take a bigger swig this time. I think I kind of wimped out on the last one after Scott did his.
Go big or go home, Peter.
The second one is not any better.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not any better.
As you're experiencing that, I caught like the front edge had this peppery thing, and then it went away real quick. Was that anyone else, or was that just mine? No.
I'm getting pepper. I'm getting plum. I'm getting winter vegetables.
Snail trail.
Tobacco.
Right.
I'm getting phlegm.
Slug, alien mouth goo.
Slimer.
There's a second. There it is. Okay. So I have 5 animals. I have 3 cats, 2 dogs. Every single animal was my wife's idea. Every one of them. Because I had a German Shepherd, and I'd had her for 15 years. And German Shepherds don't generally live that long. It's a really long time for a German Shepherd. And I had dogs my whole life. Like I had almost never been without a dog. And at many times 2 dogs. And I was just, Shepherds shed like crazy. So I was living in like just hair everywhere all the time. But we didn't have any dogs. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that for now. I love dogs. I'll get one day. But my wife kept talking me into it. So we got the one that you just saw. That's Bella. And she's great. She's an awesome dog. She got to about 1 year old though. And she was always like, always wanting attention, always felt seemed like she felt lonely. And she was. So my wife talked me into getting the yellow one. The yellow one, who is a boy, and he's awesome. I love him, and he's so cute, and he's so fun and so lovable, and he is a whirling dervish of damage. He is just unbelievable in the amount of damage he can do to things.
Tell him how much he loves Apple AirPods. Oh, he loves them, doesn't he?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, he ate one of my AirPods, right? I got that replaced, and just recently he ate another one. And I had it up on the counter. He literally got up onto the counter and got my AirPod and ate it. So
What's
I'm now.
the appeal?
I think it's my earwax. I think it's like it smells like me. You know, dogs are gross. They love all the bodily stuff. Like when they eat clothes, they eat the bad parts. They love that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and the 3 cats. My wife loves cats, so we wound up with 1 and then 2, and then she got me drunk and got me and got me to commit to a 3rd one, and then so we got that. So,
Wow.
but dogs are the thing for me. Anyway, that's me.
Yeah.
Violet?
Yeah, sure. All right, let me see if I can get this to below the label. All right. Let's try that.
We're already there, bro.
All right.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ah!
Hey, you got pepper there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's below. Oh my God.
I'm having flashbacks just watching her.
I just want to take a moment to shout out to everybody who actually has dysphagia and has to drink this. Like I more power to you, man. This is like, I feel your pain. So, all right. So cats, as you might notice, these are the knuckleheads who are causing all this mayhem back here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. You're getting famous. Come here. This is Marrow. We found him in the backyard. So we live in South Philadelphia. So we found him as a little, extremely friendly kitten, friendlier than anybody really should be in South Philadelphia if they don't want to get into trouble. Right. So we brought him home. He's like the cat that he's just so huge and fluffy. He's like the cat that Pepe Le Pew is always harassing, and exactly what he looks like. So we got him, but because he's so amiable and friendly, same thing. He was following us around, and then so we're like, we got to get him somebody. Okay, so this, let me just tell you this story. I'll do the short version. We have 2 other cats. Boom. Let me tell you the real story, okay? So we thought, let's get him a friend. So we went to the animal shelter. We got a nice little cat. He was friendly. He petted us, whatever. We brought him home. They said, make sure, let him sit in a room, on one side and then the other side, and let them smell each other. And I was like, yeah. I've brought home cats before. We did that. The other cat took one look at Marrow and ran and hid. And ran into the basement and ran into the wall. And then my husband had to pry open the wall and reach in and get him. We put him in a cat cage and put him in a closet. We come back the next day, we're planning like we're just going to take him back in the morning. We came in, he had escaped in the closet. He found another hole into the bathroom and it crawled underneath where the toilet was and was hiding in a platform underneath the toilet, like the whole fittings of the toilet where nobody could get to him. So we had to get like a have a heart trap from the Humane Society. It was 3 days. I'm starting to get worried. I'm starting to think I just paid $70 to have a dead cat installed in my floorboards. So, so they said bait it with some Kentucky Fried Chicken, like something really like stinky and crunchy that an alley cat will like. So it's like fine. So we did that, no action. So finally I had to leave the house and then come back, just like it knew that I had gone. And then it came out and ate the fried chicken and we got it and I rushed it in there and we took it, and that's the end of the story. So that cat's name was Edward. We renamed him Fiasco during this period. So Fiasco was our pet for about 72 hours. Then we got another cat, and then my husband had to rescue a kitten from a PVC pipe in the neighbor's yard. So we got that. He hacked her out with like a Chinese cleaver, and so we have that cat. Her name is Piper, obviously. So those are the 3.
Piper. Good. I get it.
Yeah.
Ours are catastrophe, chaos, and calamity.
Peter, I'm going to challenge you and I after the ponds go. I'm going to challenge you and I to tell in sipping in between us interjecting with each other with sips, our cat story, our capturing a cat story.
All right, we got to make it quick though. We're at 9:35, so go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Pons.
I'm not doing a lot. I'm just saying.
Try it. You'll like it.
Oh, it doesn't taste bad. It tastes bad because you're not doing enough of it. You don't have enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put a small pool of it on your tongue, kind of cup it and hold it gently, and then let it slowly come down, it's not very good.
Or when
No.
it's like right in the back of your nose.
Yeah.
So we got 2 pets, a cat and a dog. The cat is
Trying to attack my
trying to
hand.
attack us right now. But 10-year-old cat from a previous life. When I got the cat, it was found in a dumpster, just meowing. So we suspect that the cat was actually thrown away in the dumpster. Little tiny kitten, 10 years old now. Probably one of the calmer cats I've had.
And he's 22 pounds.
And he's 22 pounds.
Jeez.
Wow.
He's a big guy. You can tell him.
Yeah, go tell me.
Neffy is our 10-year-old chocolate lab. She still acts like she's 1. She hasn't calmed down at all. She was a purebred. Her grandfather and father were like the #1 dogs in the country. And somehow we ended up with the dud. She tries to kill herself. We're not really sure what she's doing. She eats any and everything.
My dog.
A box of Brillo pads and then threw them up 3 days later. We have more x-rays of the inside of her stomach than anything.
God.
My dog is not that bad, but yes. I had a dog like that.
She's great. She loves everybody and
Q-tips.
everything. But she really likes metal, Q-tips, plastic, chicken bones.
So if you cut her belly open, would it be like the scene from Jaws, like that shark they cut open in Jaws? Like license plates come out and tires.
Absolutely. I mean, it was so bad when she was about 3 years old. One summer, our neighbors got chickens, and they would
For a while.
They would sneak through the fence or over the fence or whatever, and they were various stages of age. And one summer, she ate 7 whole chickens.
Oh my God.
I remember eating a whole chicken once.
She would eat little pieces randomly, either in the house or the yard. I mean, she's Houdini. She can jump in the air and catch birds and kill them and bring them to you.
Wow.
Hunter. Sweet.
Wow.
80 pounds? 85
Oh,
pounds?
she's 85 pounds. So
Wow.
All right, so, Mike, I don't know that you and I have time for that story. We only because
Yeah,
we're on
that's
very
fine.
limited time. We'll tell it. So we're gonna keep doing shows. So we'll tell it on one of our shows. Put that in one of the we'll tell a story shows.
Okay.
All right. So let's go. Let's do. I got some ones that I'm gonna just do one person at a time. These are easy ones. I'll start with. Let's see. I'll start with Mike. Mike, how much? Go ahead. Take a drink.
We'll take it now and then.
No, I'll just tell you. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Oh! Who cares?
All right, good answer. Good answer.
There's pepper. I swear to God, there's pepper on this.
All right.
And yours, Mike.
Mine is. I'm gonna take this one. Can you even?
No, I can't. Oh,
I can, but never again. Oh,
it's really worse the second time.
yeah,
You really like it's like diving into a pool of cold water and you're just like, yeah, and
getting
then
worse.
I'm serious.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
serious.
getting worse.
Small sip.
take a small sip.
Let it sit on your tongue for about 10 seconds, then swallow. It's exquisite.
Yeah.
She's lying to you.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah.
Violet.
yeah.
I think
like-
this is giving me dysphagia. Yeah.
Violet is actually no. You know what? I'm gonna save this one for pond.
Okay. All right.
This is going for pond. Violet. Let's see. Let me see. I probably. It's.
Oh.
I like
No.
how it says too that it's gluten free.
It is gluten free. I made
Right.
sure of that.
Like
Yes.
that's the least of my worries right now.
Low and
Right.
Oh, Lucy's going to give us 10 minutes more. Fantastic. Okay.
Thank
That is fantastic. Okay. Let's see. Is there any movies, this is for Violet. Sorry, Violet. I got one for you. Are there any movies or games you think are relevant to our current situation?
I'm developing a dry cough. Is that normal?
There's a satire from the 1960s called, oh shoot, I can't even think of the name right now because it's not Ace in the Hole. But it stars Andy Griffith as a political candidate who poses himself as a real folksy everyman when really he's a cynical. I can't even describe this movie. But yeah, that's no, it's not A Face in the Crowd. Somebody help me, please. This is disgusting. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about is this movie from the 1950s that I can't even talk about anymore. So the question, can you even? No, I can't.
Are you? All right, Scott, ready?
Go for it.
Is Captain Caveman related to Cousin It? What do you think? Put your writer's shoes on. Could they be?
Oh God. It's like dog saliva.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know
That's
that.
the winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like imagine Beethoven with the stringy stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we shouldn't, though. Maybe we shouldn't picture that.
When you
Yeah.
drink it, think of that.
No. Nope.
So funny story. Captain Caveman actually was alive 2.3 million years ago. And right about at the time when the meteor struck, he was down vacationing down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, Florida was actually attached to Florida Keys. But when the meteor struck, it actually separated the Florida Keys from the mainland. Now, fast forward, now he was actually able to procreate asexually. So he split and had a bunch of little Captain Cavemans. But fast forward to the 1960s, Janis Joplin actually discovered Captain Caveman's descendant in the Florida Keys, and after some magic, Cousin It was born.
Oh, very nice. Very good. Very good. So yes, they are related.
I have questions, but I'm going to leave it alone.
I've got
I
video.
Is it appropriate for the show?
It's appropriate for you and I after the show.
Okay. All right.
I got a good one for you, Mike.
Nasty.
Oh my God.
Just the dabble do, Mike.
Oh, am I drinking first?
Yeah, we can. I can ask you the question
Fine.
first.
Well, just ask it as I'm drinking. Fine.
Mike, who shot first, Han or Greedo? More importantly, should we really care? Does it matter?
We should care. Yes, we should care. Because if you think Han is a do-gooder, then you're a no-gooder. Because Han wasn't a good person. Leia may have turned him into a decent person, but he shot first. And he deserved to shoot first. Look, they were in the Old West, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm trying to come up with anything else, but I keep thinking about the Beethoven spit.
Dude, I like the answer someone gave me one time. They said, "No, you're asking the wrong question." I was like, "Okay, what's the question?" He goes, "It's not a question; it's a statement. Han shot. There was no shot first. There was no second shot."
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's important to Han's character because he really was supposed to be. He wasn't ever supposed to really be a good guy.
Right.
He was supposed to be a guy who became good. That was his growth.
Right, right. And that's my fan theory, that everybody thinks that Kylo Ren, he's got the Anakin Skywalker genes. He got nothing from Anakin. If he's a killer, it's because his father's a killer. He got everything from Han. So that's my deal. But,
wow.
All right. Let's see. I have to do one. Okay. Oh, it took a big one that time.
Yeah.
Big
Oh,
poop.
maybe.
It's still kind of going down.
Now, like all of it has joined in my stomach, and they're having a rave. Like
Yes.
all of it.
Not a good rave.
No,
We're,
a bad,
drink-
there's an Altamont in my stomach right now.
Diet food. This would be great for being on a diet because you feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I've drank a rock for one, and for two, I don't want to eat anything now.
Okay, first of all, Pete, I think you're gaming the system here. Okay, you were supposed to be answering the question,
I am.
experiencing it. No. Ask the question, then you're taking another drink. Go ahead.
I'm getting low. All right, I'll take a small drink. I don't want to run out.
Ask the question.
Okay.
Save it for 14 days and refrigerate it until then?
Okay. All right.
No,
So
no.
when can we expect your trivia game, Cube of Death? What is its status?
Good
Yeah.
question.
That's a very good question. When are we going to get
Yeah.
one?
When is the demo version showing up here?
Oh, when I order it for you.
How long has it been since?
I haven't been able to because of COVID. They shut down everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as they open back up, I'll be the people who make it, the prototypers, they shut down.
They're a small shop, so that makes
I
sense.
keep looking at our timeline here.
What's that? Oh, I know, but when we talked and you reminded me, then I was
Let
like,
him answer the question.
anyway. So Cube of Death is has been put on hold. We tried to do a Kickstarter for it, but a whole bunch of comedy of errors happened right before the Kickstarter, and we weren't able to do a proper launch. And because of that, we also set up our Kickstarter a little bit wrong, which is going to cost us a lot of money because of shipping stuff. So we decided to pull it and then relaunch in a couple months. But I don't know. It's taken so long to figure. Doing a Kickstarter is hard. Okay, it's very hard. There's a lot of work that goes into a Kickstarter. It's almost like a job. So I was waiting for the timing to come right, and then Jason had another product that he wanted to put out, and he wanted to kickstart that. So I was like, okay, and we started to do that, and that was taking a little longer than expected. And then, the COVID hit right about the time we were about to launch the other product, and then we were like, do we want to launch a product on Kickstarter during COVID? Is it going to be an issue? Like, are people going to have money to buy? Are they going to want to buy? And apparently Kickstarter is still going strong. Apparently people are just still kicking money out for it. So I think we have to reinvestigate that. And I told him after Balticon, we were going to have some time. I'd have some time. We're going to talk and figure out what our strategy is, but I need to release it soon because everybody I show this to wants to buy it and wants to play it. They love
Who asked that question, Pete?
Fantastic.
The guy we played with just recently, Jamie.
Oh, he asked the question in here?
No. That question came from one from Jonathan and one from, it was like two questions and one from someone else.
Okay. Because I was going to say that I participated in the Let's Roll Con last weekend or this week. Yep. When was it? Last weekend. And I ran a game. And I would say that possibly if people were interested, it was pretty easy to set up. If there are people interested, they should contact us at MythWits.
That's part of my strategy, Mike, was to run a bunch of live games and let people get exposure out, get people seeing it. So I'm going to be doing that's going to be part of it. So we'll do that.
We'll be the first to say Tori endorses it.
Yes,
we got to play it at TotalCon and it was an absolute blast. So.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, even now during quarantine and stuff, if people are interested, I would be willing to run it again, and so they should contact us at mythwits@gmail.com.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's see. Scott Tori. Okay. So do you guys remember you went to TotalCon? Did you meet Jen Gerber and Angelia? Do you know them? Or would that be a Mike question? That'd be more of a Mike question. I'll save it.
We met Angelia and we met Jen's husband.
Okay. Well, this is a question that's very particular to the two of them, so I'll hold off on that. Let's see if I can find another one. Anybody else got any other questions? Fountain of Youth.
Well, how about if the panelists have any questions for each other?
Yeah. Anybody got a question for Scott Tori?
What's the most unexpected change you made in your life that you saw needed to happen because of this quarantine?
Well, we're doing we're finishing up homeschooling.
Don't forget the drink.
We've been doing some homeschooling, so that's been a challenge.
What are you, a ventriloquist there, Scott?
Don't ask him where his hand is.
Thing that's changed. The good thing about my day job is I was working from home anyway, but what I found is that the day job meetings have exponentially gone up. Mainly because I'd say half of our company at least were working out of offices before the quarantines. But then once they all moved to working from home, they felt that everybody needed to be included on every single meeting. So you're sitting in meetings for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and then trying to do your normal day job on top of that. And what I found is that the ability to balance it and just say no is something I've actually acquired more so in the last 3 months than I ever have in the 20 years working in the company before that.
Well, it makes
I
it
feel like I work harder now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it makes it hard too because he works for a global company, so he's got people from all around the world, and so he'll have a call at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it's like
Or 5 or 6 in the morning.
5 in the morning. So it's making everything a little bit different on that spectrum. We're doing homeschool every other week or so. Thankfully, that wraps up soon because I don't know anymore.
Right.
I feel like I'm studying the stuff that I didn't study the first time, and now I'm regretting it. But I think that's the hardest part.
Real quick, Keith Hughes asked, when is the anthology? Is that still on board?
It's still on board. We've got a lot
we've had a lot of unexpected personal stuff that we've been dealing with for the last 9 months or so. So the plan is still to get it out there. My goal is that this summer we're able to pull it back together again and get it out there, because I'm really excited to get everyone's stories out there for everyone else to read, because they're fantastic stories.
All right. So we're almost out of time. Let's wrap this up, Mike, unless you got, was it?
Oh, I was going to ask Violet a question. Can we sneak
if
a
you could do
question
it quick, and then we'll go around and we'll finish this up and you give your plug.
So Violet, I was just curious, in this forum where we're keeping it, trying to keep it clean, although the puppetry thing was on whatever.
Hey.
Can you tell us what new things you were working on? Is there any projects that you're working on that we can look forward to?
Yeah, talking about writing 3 novels at once. So, I'm finishing up a novel that I've been working on for more than a decade. I suddenly looked at it and said, oh my God, I only have to write 3 chapters and I'm done. That was kind of a novel thing. I've also picked up reading and writing the fan fiction. So, that if anybody is interested in a very un-PG read, I'm Void Vesper at AO3 at Archive of Our Own. And that has gone up exponentially to the fact that I've actually started writing a novel there. And I'm sort of amazed at, this is, you talk about NaNoWriMo, and this is the quickest I've ever written a novel. And I'm sort of shocked at how much I'm able to do it. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's give everybody a chance to plug whatever it is they're doing, where we can find you and all that good stuff. I'm just putting a link in the thing for us. I'll go, you know what? I'll go first. We're the MythWits, so you can find us at MythWits.com. We do this kind of stuff. Not exactly this, but this kind of stuff every so often. It used to be every week. I was getting ready to say every week, Mike, but it used to be every week. But we have, 40 shows a year for the last 7 years. So there's plenty to go back on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you type in MythWits, you'll find a bunch of shows. Violet's been on a couple. Last year we did the Hot Wings Challenge, which was like this. I think that was a little funnier, though. That was a really good one. And we interview scientists and comic book authors and drink and eat disgusting stuff sometimes. This is not our main thing. We just like doing this for conventions. That's done. And so check out MythWits and check out tsrgames.com. That's things like, we're selling this bad boy, top secret box set. It's beautiful. It's an awesome game. Next.
I'll go. So my name is Violet Levois, and I'm the only Violet Levois in the world. So my first name is an anagram of my last name. So you can find me. I'm violetlevois@gmail.com, violetlevois.com, Violet Levois at Instagram. That's really the only one thing. The new thing that I'm doing, my older son just turned 13, and we are starting a weekly Twitch stream together. It's called Mom Can't Game. And I don't know if you saw the Saturday Night Live where Adam Driver is the dad trying to learn Fortnite. And Linus saw that and said, Mom, this is you. So the point of it is he's going to teach me how to play video games, and I'm not going to be able to do them. And then the second half of the show, I'm going to show him how to do a vintage game from my youth. We've done a couple dress rehearsals. We're going to go live in a couple weeks or so. So that's the new thing. Mom can't game.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I typed, you talked.
We're on Skatori, Scott and Tori. You can find us at skatori.com. We're on iTunes and also on the website skatori.com. You can also find us as Skatori on Facebook and Instagram. From my side of the house, you can also find me and Scott E. Pond Designs on Facebook, scottpond.com as a website, and also on Instagram.
Okay. Okay. It looks like Mike has frozen complete. Did you finish your drink there, Scott? Are you all done?
Here we go.
All right. Can't leave it unfinished. Oh, Mike dropped out. He'll be back. Oh, there he is. Oh, you're down there now. Mike, I did the MythWits thing. I probably should have left that for you because I'm an idiot. You're muted.
So
He knows sign language, but we don't.
you've said all there is to say. Oh well.
We'll finish your drink.
Well, I have nothing to say.
Go ahead and finish that up there, Mike.
It's like
All right.
when you
I didn't finish mine either. I'll just
All right.
to you.
Oh God.
Mike. All right. Mike, I got one for you.
That is so wrong.
This is your last comment. What is the worst thing I've done to you? Was it the thing that popped open with the stuff that shot out? Was it?
It's this. I'm gonna have to pray on that because you've done so much, and since we can't talk about some of the things,
right? Was it could it have been the challenge a couple years ago?
Yeah, how many can we do with the things? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is a shared thing though, and I wasn't the geek biting the head off of a chicken. Yeah. So I don't know.
All right, well, you'll have to let us know. Let's do this, everybody. Thank you all for coming on the show. I love it. Another great show. You've just enjoyed another awesome episode of MythWits. If you don't have time for videos, make sure to subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcatcher. Do like, follow, subscribe, thing wherever it's appropriate. Make sure to share your favorite episodes on social media and help spread MythWits love over the entire planet. Tweet us at MythWits and check out MythWits.com. MythWits, the TSR Podcast Network production. Check out TSRPN.com for more cool shows like this. MythWits is a Creative Commons product. Like and share on all the places. Just don't edit it, don't change it, and don't pour it over thicket water. If you thought our show was bad, just to wait until you thick it. Everybody, thanks everybody for listening. Tell your friends to tune in. And until next time, Mike? Nothing. He's got nothing. I thicked him out. All right, our tech person, you can take us out. Not take us out. You can take us out. All right, everybody. Thank you.